It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission really is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, that's right, you, the hardworking entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this episode, we have the one and only Kimberly Evans, who's in the building. What's going on, Kimberly? How are you?
Hi, Shay. I'm doing well, and I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm excited to be here. You know, you're actually someone I had a chance to meet, by the way. Sometimes I never meet folks, only through the power of these fiber optic lines, but I had a chance to meet you face to face, got a chance to have a conversation with you, and I had an opportunity to enjoy your service, which I can't wait to talk about. You do a lot of things, but we'll be talking about one of them in particular. But let me address the one question, because they're reading it right now saying, Shay, successful principles every entrepreneur needs to know. Let's slow down. And let's, if you can, share with your experience, what are maybe 2, 3, or 4 of the challenges that folks have just being a successful entrepreneur? Because it sounds so easy. They get an idea, they want to save the world, and they just go do it. And for whatever reason, most businesses fail within the first year. Why?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I always say, listen, an idea is just an idea, or maybe even a good idea. But without execution, it is still going to be just a good idea. And so I think a lot of times people have sort of this, this thing in their mind that, oh, I'm just going to dream it, create it, and go do it. But to be an entrepreneur, you have to be cut from a different cloth. It's not easy and it takes a lot to do it, but you can do it. I mean, I'm not saying like don't do it, but I'm saying just be prepared, just understand your industry, understand what problem you're solving, and then make sure that you're planning. And if it's strategic, strategy is very important as an entrepreneur. So make sure that you're being very strategic about what it is that you're trying to solve, and then just start planning from there. And, obviously we'll talk a little bit more about it in detail, but I think that's a good place to start.
Now, I'm guilty about this whole planning thing of not wanting to plan. I'm like, I've got it in my head. I'm just going to go, 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 go. And I know that's not the right thing, but I'm curious, why do folks, all right, why are they hesitant to not want to lay the foundation, if I can say it like that, to not only have the plan, but the pieces in place before they start off? Just based on your experience, what holds people back from just doing planning?
So I don't think that you have to have it all mapped out, but you have to have some things mapped out, because I think without a plan, then you're going to set yourself up for failure. Now, in some cases, and I'm not talking about, being spontaneous and doing things, but I'm talking about when it comes to trying to build a real business, it is going to take some planning involved, whether that is, planning how you're going to execute, how you're going to go to market, how you're going to acquire great talent. And I think a lot of times, and I believe in what the word says, if you write it down, write the vision down, you make it plain, then you can execute, then you can run with it. And so I don't know why people steer away from planning. I think planning is good, even though you don't have everything figured out. It's good to have a basis of where you're going, see yourself where you want to be, and then surround yourself by people who can help you get there. So you got to have a plan to do that.
This might be an unfair question, and we'll get into your background in a moment, but I'm sure you can handle it. If you were speaking to the person now and they're like, okay, Shay, she keeps saying I need to plan. Gee, and Shay, is so much to planning. If I had to plan 3 areas and she had the opportunity to, based on her experience, to say, okay, here are 3 things you might at least want to start with planning and understanding, no matter what your business is. And ladies and gentlemen, I know she hadn't told her story. I know some of you are already nosy. You're Googling her already. I get it. Some of you are already looking at her bio online. I get it. But don't worry, in a moment, we'll find her story out. But just know she's someone that has not only started one business, but multiple businesses. So the reason I'm asking her this is that no matter what industry you're in, no matter what your idea is, here are maybe 3 principles or 3 ideas that you can use for planning, so you can write those down now, and it could save you so much time. And for others, you hold on,
Absolutely.
because I'm going to talk about, how she had the courage to go do what she did, because She's done some things that no one else is doing. Back over to you. So, what are your three suggestions that someone can do to at least include in a plan?
Absolutely, Shay. So, for one, you need to think about the infrastructure of your business. You need to make sure that you understand what kind of business are you going to set up? What are the goals for this business? Do you want to just create a business where you can serve the community and you can operate at a certain level? Do you want to create a business where it's scalable and you're going to be seeking venture dollars? It's very different. And so I think you need to make sure that you understand the infrastructure of your company and make sure that you surround yourself with a great team. I understand that sometimes we're revenue sensitive, but there are just some things that you cannot afford to have when it comes to things like accounting and marketing and those types of things. So I think it all comes down to sort of building out the basis, the bottom line, the infrastructure of your company, how you're setting up your entity, where do you want to see your company go, and then how to incorporate certain things into your company that will help you reach the next level.
I think now, thanks for sharing, by the way. Now is a good time maybe to tell a little about who are you? Who is Kimberly Evans, right? What's her backstory? She's talking about what it takes to be an entrepreneur. She's sharing a few principles of success for entrepreneur, but who is she? What's her backstory? And what was the defining moment that Kimberly said, entrepreneurship is for me?
Yes. Well, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, but I come from a line of entrepreneurs that had opportunity, but then lost it because they didn't know how to build, they didn't know how to scale, they didn't know how to pay taxes so that somebody could come along and take their land. So we had stores and we had land and we had all of this, and we lost a lot of it through generations. But I come from humble beginnings. I did not come from the best. At times we had a really great life, and there were times when it was really tough. But I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, even from a very young age of thinking that I could take out Mr. Williams, the corner store, by setting up my lemonade stand or my cookie stand or my candy stand right at the corner of where his store is. And if you know anything about sort of growing up, back in the olden days, we had these corner stores that serviced our community. So I always thought that I could do a better job than Mr. Williams. So entrepreneurship has always been in my blood from an early age. But if I were to sum up who I am now with growth and wisdom, the first thing I would say is that I'm a servant of others. I am a wife of almost 27 years. I am a mother. I am a grandmother. And I am a serial and a social entrepreneur. So I don't just build businesses just for houses, cars, and boats. I build businesses to impact my communities. And I've always done that in every business that I've built. So that's pretty much my background. I did not come from, education was not a priority in our home. We barely survived in some cases, but I knew there was more out there for me and I wanted to go find what it was. And so I felt like entrepreneur ship was the best journey for me. I did also work 21 years at the Postal Service as well. So I had a little bit of a career or a job, but entrepreneur was the way that I knew that I was going to ultimately end up.
What was your first entrepreneur venture?
Yes. So my first entrepreneur venture was in fashion. I loved fashion. So I started this company because I worked in fashion and I moved my way up. I became a supervisor and assistant buyer and I loved it. And so I set out on this quest to build my company and I sold very high end, very nice garments. But I found very early that it was more of a hobby than it was because I couldn't make it a business. But I learned so much. And I used to say, oh, it was my biggest failure. But it actually was my biggest lesson because I learned distribution and manufacturing. I learned accounting. I learned how to build a solid team at the basis of a company. And even though that company, I could no longer sell women $800 suits and jewelry, I knew that I could pivot. And because I was blessed with the gift of gab, I turned that into teaching dress code etiquette in corporations and law offices, and I would host lunch and learn. So I went from not being able to make a fashion business work to using what God gave me and running my mouth. And that did very well for quite some time.
And what did you enjoy most about it?
I enjoy the fact that I've always been a very creative person. And so I
Mhm.
loved seeing the creativity of fashion. I love the Ralph Laurens and all of the guests. And at that time, those brands were really huge back then. Now, not so much these days, but I just love seeing people create and make beautiful things. And also I loved making women happy. I used to also do closet organizing, and so when I would deal with women with how they wanted to organize their clothes, I would see sort of this look that would come over their faces when they found the right outfit or when they had their closet organized in a certain way. And so that was the best part about it for me.
And now you're through a number of different ventures. And thanks for sharing a little bit of the backstory so folks understand you didn't just wake up one day and get excited and poof, here you are. You had a concept for an idea called Just Her Rideshare. Take a moment and give us the backstory behind Just Her Rideshare, and what were some of the struggles and challenges you had just getting it off the ground. If you don't mind being authentic with the audience as they're listening.
Absolutely, 100%. I love sharing this story. It took me a while to get here, but I didn't dream this at 12. I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to go and start a ride share. I was actually introduced to this space as a business opportunity. I was traveling down a path with a former co founder, a sister, and we had some ups and downs and were working through some things. And about 10 months into it, she decided she did not want to move forward. About 2 weeks when we started, I knew that I was called to a place of where I was supposed to be. So it felt very natural, and I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing. So a lot of times you hear people say, "Oh, I've been dreaming this since I was 5. I've been dreaming this since I was actually led to my purpose." But what happened is that, again, 10 months into it, she said, I don't want to move forward. And I thought, here I am with this. I've been working 10 months. I've been building. I've been researching. I've been in discovery phase. I have money invested in this. And how many of you know that it's important that you align with the right partner, right? Make sure that you are clearly defining roles and responsibilities and that you do not let egos get in the way. Because that was not the best experience, but it was a learning experience for me. And so when I decided, okay, what do I do now? How do I move forward? And I prayed and I fasted and I prayed some more. And I got clarity when God said to me, have I stopped? And I said, no, sir. He said, well, if I haven't stopped, then you don't stop. When I move, and you keep going. And literally in 30 days, I had launched Just Her because it was something different in the beginning. But I had launched Just Her. I had raised my first $25,000 and we were on our way. And I knew that I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, I had opportunity to participate in Just Her Rideshare, meaning that her office came and picked me up. Someone in her organization came and picked me up, and it was just an amazing experience. Okay, it wasn't so much it was a nice Mercedes and all that. That was cool, but it was
Only the best
it was
for you.
no, it was the fact that that the person that picked me up was very personable, very knowledgeable. Shared a few places to get something to eat in the area, which is important to me. I don't get that. I don't want to mention the other companies out there, but I didn't get that, and it felt very, very personable, and I really enjoyed it. Not only that, but they also took me back as well. So I was blessed in both instances. So the reason I asked that question, the reason I share my experience is for the person that's listening now and that says, "Wow, you talk about having a partner and what to look for." If they're thinking about partnering with someone, you say, look, here's 1, 2, or 3 things, and they may have opportunity right now and saying, wow, I need to partner with someone and I'm thinking about it, or I'm in a situation now. What are 3 things looking back now that you would say, wow, before you go too far down the rabbit hole, here are 3 things to look for. that you would look for in your next partner? So that's really the question. Like, okay, success is a team sport. Let me say that. You can only get so far by yourself, and you'll probably do another partnership. If you're in business long enough, you probably will in one day. What are the three characteristics you'll be looking for in a partnership?
Yeah, so it's really important. I do believe, I think I read somewhere where 70% of all startups end due to broken partnerships. So a lot of times people go into business together and they have these great ideas, but you need to have some conversations before you get too deep in. And those conversations should kind of go like this. Are we aligned? Do we have the same mission and vision? Have those hard conversations up front. I promise you, it will save you a lot of time. Make sure that your roles, I said this earlier, make sure that you're clearly defining, not that you think, but that you're clearly defining the roles and responsibilities. Because a lot of times when you're in startup, yeah, you have your hands here and there and everywhere. But if you want to see egos come up, start to step over in someone else's lane that you don't typically operate in. And so I think it boils down to respect as well, making sure that you're respecting the other person's role. One of the things that I do miss about my partnership in the beginning was having a thought partner. I miss that. I miss collaborating and bouncing ideas. The thing that I don't miss about it, that I love about being a solo entrepreneur, and I'm not saying that we don't have a team, but as a solo entrepreneur, I love being able to make decisions quickly, right? And so whether it's a good, bad, or indifferent one, then I don't have to go through this person, that person, or the third. I can make the decision, and then the outcome relies on me. And so a lot of times, in order to do that, you can get things done quicker. Because you don't have to deal with egos saying, yeah, I don't think that's going to work, or that might not work, or, you get to make that decision. And so that's what I love about the solopreneur.
I love it. We have a segment here at Happy Entrepreneur Show called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that are listening, that tune in every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I know you wait to say those words. You can go and say those magical words. Today is my January 1st. And for those folks that are tuned in for the very first time, welcome. We welcome you to the family. We're going to suggest you pay this message forward, hit the share button, pay this to someone else who can benefit. It helps us and it helps them as well. But today is my January 1st represents a fresh start. That's our personal mantra, the Happy Entrepreneur Show. It represents a do-over. It means our past, no matter what the past is back there, it no longer equals the future. And so my question to Kimberly Evans on the other side is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And what was another one of your January 1st moments where things didn't go the way you wanted them to and you had to bounce back?
I love that, Shay. I really do, because as an entrepreneur, you are going to have probably many do-overs. So I think for me, it was when I learned that I could trust myself, right? I was having sort of this challenge with indecisiveness. Like, there were people who were coming to us saying, oh, we can do this, we can do that. There was a lot of promises, a lot of finesse. And I knew what I needed to help me build the team and to scale the team, the company, but I was indecisive about bringing key people into the company. And so I remember one day walking, and I've been praying about it. And finally, it was like the answer was, just trust yourself. Trust yourself, because I am with you. Whether that is a good decision or a bad decision, you will recover because I'm with you. And so that was my moment, or my January 1st, when I realized, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then I love the fact that when you talk about this, you talk about do-overs, because a lot of times we have to give ourselves some grace, because you will have to do some things over. You will have to have a short memory. We all make bad decisions. None of us make the best decisions all the time, but you can't let that stop you. So you have to make sure that you have a very short memory. Learn from it, right? Don't lose the lesson, but don't hold yourself hostage to, oh, that was not a bad decision. Just know that that decision is going to help you make the next best decision, or to do better. And so I love that you asked this question, because it gives you, as an entrepreneur, it gives you hope. to know that, yeah, that wasn't the right marketing team, or that wasn't the right COO. But guess what? I get to do it over. I get to keep building. I get to keep learning, and I get to keep growing. So I love that.
Thank you. We thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable. And thank you for being so transparent. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given? And I like to frame the conversation for the audience that questions kind of geared towards, of all the mentors that Kimberly's had. She's had so many mentors along this journey of life, whether folks she's met in person, folks she just followed online, maybe books that she's read. And it's a big loaded question. So she's going to reach out and grab one of them, by the way. And you at home, you get to lean in, because you get to take away one idea that's buried inside of her that you can use for the rest of your life. And so there's a lifetime value of you listening and participating and showing up for the Happy Entrepreneur Show right in this present moment. So my question, Kimberly, is what's one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received from any of your mentors?
I would say be open, be very nimble and agile. This is a lot of moving parts to what we do as an entrepreneur, especially if you're an early stage, right? Things are not going to always go according to plan. So be very open to listen. Surround yourself by people who have been there, who understand your journey. Maybe even if it's not the same journey, they can save you some potholes and some cliffs. So be open, be mindful, listen as well as pray. But be a good listener, and be open to learn. I would say that's the some of the best advice that I've had. I've also recently had some really great advice when it came to sort of getting sort of the best out of our team. Acquiring talent is very challenging when you're in entrepreneurship, especially if you're revenue sensitive. You can't pay anybody, right? And so you want to get the best productivity. Sometimes it's not just about you're going to do it this way, or it's the highway, or this is how we do it. And when I talk about being very nimble, sometimes you have to change some systems in order to adapt to the people that you have. It doesn't mean that they're not doing their job. A lot of times they may not perform as well because you have them in one position when they actually should be in another position. But if you're always focused on you're going to do it this way or the highway, then you could miss an opportunity. Sometimes you have to shift the system a little bit and then let them operate in that system. And you'll find that sometimes a lot of people are operating in places that they shouldn't be. And you give them the opportunity to thrive in places where they need to be. So,
Yeah. When you look back over the last 60 days, what are you most proud of? What's one of your successes been? I know it wasn't one of the questions we were going to ask, but folks look back, they're always reviewing, and then they're planning and they're taking action going forward. But what's one of the successes you're most proud of that you've done over the last 90 days, let's say?
I would say probably around technology. We
Mm.
started out developing our own product, and it was going very slow. We were growing and quickly, and that wasn't the issue. But we listened to our customers, we listened to our drivers, and we knew we needed to do something that could help us actually scale quicker, actually get us to another level. And so shifting our technology, shifting our development team was something huge because we were right in the middle of sort of this big boost, this big growth. And we thought, oh gosh, is this the right time to do it? But we knew that we had to do it to get to a much larger scale. And so I'm super proud that I didn't allow, people always talk about my baby. This is, my baby. I didn't allow my baby to stop me in a space that was going to hold us back. But I had to make some decisions and some shifts in our technology that will ultimately help us get to the next level. And so I'm super proud that I didn't get caught up in indecisiveness. I didn't have to meet with 1,000 people and say, hey, should we do this? I made the decision for the betterment of the company, and we're pleased with where we're headed. So I'm super excited
Yeah.
about that.
Cool beans. What's next for you these days? What's some of the things you'll be
So
working on over the next year or two?
yeah, so we're obviously we're raising capital, so we expect to close out our pre-seed round of funding. We are hoping to grow our team and to be able to acquire additional great talent. We have an amazing team with a lot of experience. We're also looking to expand. We have a waiting list that is insane around the country, and we're going to tap into those spaces where we can provide transportation and build community with people. And so we're super excited about rolling out in some of these amazing places.
Yeah. What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world these days?
Well, I don't have much fun these days, but when I do, I love to just quiet my spirit and myself. I love listening to waterfalls. I love listening to affirmations. It sort of balances me and helps me to really focus. When I get too caught up in what I'm doing, I step away from what I'm doing and I go serve my other founders. Hey, what are you doing? What are you working on? Can I make some phone calls? Can I do this? Because it helps me not to be so focused in my own thing. And then if I'm lucky, then I'll be able to steal away and have a little bit of time with my husband, have a nice dinner, a nice glass of wine, and just relax. And so I'm hoping we're in a building stage, so it's part of the process. But I do see an opportunity coming where I will be able to reap the fruits of our labor, and I'm so excited. And when that comes, it's just going to be if I could just get a few days away just to relax and catch up on some reading, I'll be good with that.
Well, let me say thanks so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Two questions I have as we close out and come down the home stretch. Number one, what type of clients are you looking to take on these days, if any? And number two, how can folks best connect with you over and beyond this conversation?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun. So, currently, right now, we're still growing as a new company, but we always talk about that we're not just driving women or creating a safe work environment, but we're building community. And part of that is our community platform, Just Her Hub. It's a place where we connect and engage and support one another. As well as our social initiatives. So we are looking for a community manager, someone who can get dialed in and understand our vision and our mission and help us take our community. We have a pipeline of almost 1,400 women. We want to take that to the next level. And we are also, you can follow us on social media platforms at Just Her Ride. If you know of any drivers that are in the Charlotte metro area, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, and Charleston, Greenville, South Carolina, or Columbia, and they're interested in driving, we need drivers in those areas. And yeah, and so we'll be happy to have you come and be a part of what we're doing and build community with us.
I love it. I love it. Thank you again for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you. Thank you to viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. It says so much about you. We appreciate your time. Do us a favor if you haven't. Make sure you connect with us. Make sure you hit the share button. If you got some value, just look right below and make a comment. It helps the show and it helps you and it helps us and helps other folks as well. So thanks so much. And every night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I never, ever, ever grow weary. Don't worry of saying and reminding you and me that you're already awesome. Isn't that cool that you're so incredible, that you're a super spectacular, fabulous person, and that for you as you're watching right now, as you're listening right now, no matter what your situation is, that today, in fact, is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason, how many reasons do you need to change your life anyway? One. Because of that one reason, I believe your best is still yet to come. Your best is yet to come. Your better days are still ahead of you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless, and we wish you success. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. See you later. Peace, Kimberly.
Peace.